In this video, let's take a quick look at the difference between pass-through and normal blending modes for folders and the Refine Edge tool later on. Let's start by opening an image. Let's go back to Bridge and open up another one. Let me drag the second image on top of the first. Let's transform that into place so we get a better look at it. Now I'm going to put this image into a folder and call that layer 1 group. Let me add a levels adjustment layer on top. And now change the folder blending mode to normal, and let's make changes to the levels adjustment layer. I'm pushing up the blacks and darkening the whites, moving the midpoint as well. So you can see there is a clear difference between the two images. Now if I change the blending mode to pass through, we can see that the background layer is also being affected. Pass-through means that any unclipped adjustment layers, that is the ones which are not restricted by a clipping mask or a layer mask, will affect everything below them. This includes the layers in the same folder as well as those outside and below. Now, similar to pass-through, we can also set our folders to different blending modes to affect the result in different ways. I usually tend to keep all my folders in normal blending mode unless there are specific things I want to affect. For example, is a lighting or a global adjustments group. Next, let's take a look at the Refine Edge tool. Let's pop over to Bridge and open up this image. Now I have already gone ahead and extracted the left mountain section using the channels palette, similar to what we did in the last lesson. This is a good example to show how the Refine Edge tool works. Head over to channels. The keyboard shortcut to invert is Ctrl-I or Command-I on a Mac. Let's select the layer. Now the Refine Edge tool is available using any selection tool, like for example a marquee or a lasso. Let's open that up. We get different methods to view our selection, like marching ants, overlay, on black, on white, black and white, on layers. This mode shows the selection on top of the other layers in the document. I'm just going to switch to on black for now. So under edge detection, we have the smart radius. So increasing the value of radius allows more area to be sampled from the current selection edge. The radius is measured in pixels. You can also paint it using a brush. For example, I'll just go and paint in this section around the trees. And Photoshop tries to find the edge based on our painted radius. Now it didn't do a very good job here, so I'm just going to undo it and just reduce the value. Underneath Adjust Edge, we have options like Smooth, which will just smooth the selection. So you can see here. Then Feather, similar to the Feather command. Contrast will make the selection edge much tighter. And Shift Edge. This expands the selection in or out. I'm going to go and click ahead on Decontaminate Colors, and let's push the slider up. In the output section, we have new layer, layer with layer mask, document, and a document with layer mask. I'm going to set a new layer with layer mask, and you can choose to remember settings. Let's hit OK. There we go. So here is a quick introduction to the Refine Edge tool. We would be using this tool quite often during our process. In the next video, let's go back to our matte painting and work on adding the sky.